When Prophet Ibrahim broke the idols and challenged his people and made their helplessness clear, then the chiefs became very angry. Their pride and arrogance could not bear this, that a young man rejects their religion, their gods, and the godhood of the king. Therefore, it was decided that Ibrahim be burned alive so that the rest of the people become afraid, and no other person dared such courage. The people made a plan to prepare a great fire. For days and weeks wood was collected. It is narrated that so much wood was gathered that, in the land of Babylon, such a great fire had never been lit before. When the fire was kindled, its flames touched the sky. The heat was so intense that going near was impossible. The people were celebrating happily that they would throw Ibrahim into the fire and take revenge for their gods. But the truth was that they were moving towards their own end. Going near the fire was not possible. Therefore, a great catapult was prepared. Prophet Ibrahim was tied with ropes and placed into this catapult, so that he could be thrown from a distance into the flames of the fire. This scene was the greatest punishment of that era and a sign of the helplessness of mankind. When Ibrahim was being tied in the catapult, angels came to him and said, "If you wish, we can destroy them all." But Ibrahim said, "My Lord is sufficient for me. He is the best disposer of affairs." In his heart there was not even a trace of fear, only complete trust upon Allah. When Ibrahim was thrown into the fire, at that time Allah commanded the fire, "O fire, become cool and peaceful upon Ibrahim." This was such a command of Allah which changed all the laws of nature. That fire which burns everything for Ibrahim became a cool garden and a place of peace. The people were astonished. That young man whom they wanted to burn into ashes, he was sitting in the midst of the fire like in flowers and greenery. His body was safe, his clothes were safe, and his faith had become even stronger than before. This scene became a living miracle of the power of Allah for the whole world. This incident tells us that when a servant trusts in Allah with faith, then all the laws of the universe also, by Allah's command, change in his favor. Even fire becomes a garden for him, the sea gives a path, and mountains bow down. When Prophet Ibrahim came out safe from the fire, people were astonished. But Nimrod's heart was covered with pride and arrogance. Instead of taking a lesson, he began to declare his godhood even more loudly. He used to say that the entire kingdom of the earth and the heavens is in my possession. Rain, crops, and people's lives are all under my command. Ibrahim reached the court of Nimrod by the command of Allah. There, thousands of people were gathered, courtiers, soldiers, chiefs, and common people. Nimrod was sitting proudly upon his throne. Ibrahim declared, "My Lord is the one who gives life and gives death." Nimrod laughed and said, "To give life and death is in my hands." Look, he called 2 prisoners, killed one, and set the other free. Then with pride he said, "I gave one death and one life." People began clapping, but Ibrahim smiled and said, "My Lord brings the sun from the east, so if you are true, then bring it from the west." This was such an argument that had no reply. Nimrod's face turned red. He became confused for a while, then remained silent. Silence fell in the court. People began to look at each other. The Prophet of Allah had given such proof of the oneness of his Lord that prevailed over both intellect and nature. Despite this, Nimrod did not give up his stubbornness. On the strength of his power, he continued to proclaim his false godhood. History states that Allah destroyed him with a very small creature. A tiny mosquito entered into his nose and ate his brain. He writhed in pain for years until he died in humiliation. This incident makes clear this reality, that the greatest king of the world is also helpless before Allah. Power, armies, and wealth cannot save anything. The real sovereignty